Fairly early into your playthrough, you should happen across a tiny, insecure man.
I will pick you up with one hand by your titty.
I assumed most people's first instinct would be to save Andrew Zote from this oversized mosquito, but that was not my instinct. My instinct was to just watch. I used a timer for my first playthrough, as you can see. I was just kind of curious, and right as I found Dearest Zote, I had to go do something around the house, like be an adult. I left him at 2 hours and 15 minutes in, and I didn't come back to my computer until 1 hour and 35 minutes later, at which point I just quit out of the game. Upon reopening the game, I found myself killing an early boss and completely forgetting about Zote. At hour 17 of my playthrough, I make an appearance at what is now a gruesome crime scene, and in my pursuit of justice, I begin my investigation by immediately tampering with evidence. Neglect is the name of this game, and I neglected to even research the achievements for this video before my first playthrough. And when I finally did, I was pleasantly surprised to find out it was the 10th rarest achievement, and I had killed 2 Zotes with 1 stone.
You're a fat, ugly sack of shit.
Bonus fact, I never save Zote in any of my playthroughs. Fuck that guy. Again, pretty early into the game, Harry McClary's overroided cousin takes it upon himself to burden you with this universe's Pokédex. Just like Professor Cuck, Harry McQuarrie places the responsibility of filling all 150 entries entirely upon you. As if finding all 150 enemies wasn't hard enough, we have to kill multiple of most types of enemies, save for bosses and entries like Gorgeous Husk. Most of the achievement just had me killing the enemy I needed, quitting out, loading in, dream gating, then repeat. Meandering through this most mediocre mission left me the same sense of thrill and excitement as when I used to pick walking for sport in high school. It's nice that there's 150 different types of enemies, even more in the DLC. Truly, that is fantastic. But asking me to kill 20 jellyflies when there's only like 3 on the whole map at one time, and when the fastest way to do it is by spending most of the time out of the gameplay and in the menu screen? Like, can you imagine if Pokemon was like, hey, don't just find and catch them, but like see their rare move 10 times and watch 50 of them evolve and give them little candies and... oh wait. After finishing the Pokédex, you can head back to Stinky McGrinky and claim his ultimate reward. What cool award does he have in store for us? A shiny charm? No. The mark of a true hunter. No, seriously though, that's it. It's just a thing that sits in your inventory. No passive, no ability. You know, I knew we shouldn't have trusted Skunky. He's definitely on the roids. Look at his legs, they're chicken legs. And he has a pretty small nail, if you know what I mean. D for dickhead. After reaching a major late game threshold, an NPC named Mr. Mushroom will spawn. Damn it, I should have named my channel name Mr. Mushroom. Normally, he speaks a bunch of gibberish when you interact with him. But if you like useless charms, there's a good chance you might find him while you have the Spore Shroom charm equipped. In addition to its primary function, the ability to do a lethal fart anytime you heal, the Spore Shroom has a secondary, hidden passive. This passive allows the player to translate what Mr. Mushroom is rambling on about. Mostly, he seems to be ignoring the night and referencing other games Team Cherry has made like Hungry Night. But sometimes I can hear him mumbling something like, "Subscribe if you're enjoying the video." What the hell do you think that could mean? If you can find him in his 7 locations throughout Hallownest and speak to him each time, on the last time he will rocket off into, I don't know, space I guess. Curb your entitlement to an achievement just yet, because you'll find no such reward. The game asks the measly task of killing the final boss and finishing your playthrough, upon which a new ending is unlocked, where we witness Team Mushroom blasting off again for a second time. But this time we are blessed with a to be continued cliffhanger. Some people might think this refers to Silksong. I like to think it's actually referring to a Hungry Mr. Mushroom spin-off. This one belongs in C tier. Pure completion requires a 112% game completion file and then a final boss kill. The extra 12% was added after the DLCs were released, so naturally the extra percent is tied to these DLCs. I'm only going to mention the 12% and not the other 100, as that will come up in a rare achievement down the line. The DLCs add a couple of charms, a few additional bosses, and 4 incredibly difficult boss rushes. Dream Shield is shit, Grimchild is cute, Gritmaster is fine, Weaver Song is underwhelming, Grim is a pretty good boss actually, Nightmare King Grim, well, I'll just let it speak for itself. Hive Knight is Pantheon of the Master has a cool duo boss fight. Pantheon of the Artist features Bob Ross. Pantheon of the Sage put hairs on my chest. And Pantheon of the Knight separated the Zotes from the men. As I was hoping, the DLCs for this game were incredibly difficult. Perhaps even too difficult for me. The content in this game is 10 out of 10. A tier. Having a constant time pressure ticking away, in addition to the difficulty this game already brings, could be enough to immediately turn off even the most seasoned gamers. But having to complete the game in 10 hours really isn't that bad. If you're decently familiar with the layout of Hallownest, and none of the main bosses really give you too much trouble, it's a fairly straightforward task to zip around completing main objectives and skipping everything else like the complete sociopaths we are. Most of the more difficult platforming and bosses are not included in the any percent speedrun, so you can breathe a sigh of relief, but also, most of the game upgrades like increasing your nail and spell damage are going to be skipped over. I'm somewhat of a speedrunner myself, so the chance to try some speed tech in this game was an exciting prospect. But honestly, the most enjoyable part of this achievement for me was destroying the bosses I was more confident on. And trust me, I was going to need all the practice I could get for the rarer half of these achievements. Nothing too crazy. B tier. The good news is, we have 20 hours to complete this speedrun. Bad news? We have to 100% the game. Channeling the power of Bolt, we're required to sprint around the map like it's some sort of dystopian marathon. If raw gameplay and absolutely nothing else besides getting lost is of interest to you, then maybe this achievement is the one for you. Several things count towards the in-game percentage tracker. The most obvious are the 14 main story-ish bosses all giving 1% each, 36 charms also totaling 1% each, 3 Colosseum fights adding up to 3%, 3 dreamers giving, yep, 3%, Dream Nail, Awoken Dream Nail, and sending the last of the moth kind radiating back to her dead dad or something is 3%, a total of 4 mask upgrades, all counting 1% each, 3 wrestle fragments for soul pool upgrades, nail arts, nail upgrades, and spell upgrades bring a total of 3, 4, and 6%, and finally 7 sad dead dudes that never could get good enough to beat the game. Plan is key if you hope to get through this without making a total mess of it. 7 hours and 57 minutes was the final time I arrived when completing this one. So the timer is quite generous, but only if you know where to go and what to do. If you stumble around like a fool on his first playthrough, well, let's just say White Defender will climb up your ass and extract the materials needed for the new poo sculpture he's been working on. Quite a pleasure, to be honest. A tier. 10 hours to complete the game? Achievements for a puny Zotling. A true hunter completes the game in 5 hours. Take what we did 2 achievements ago and at least double the efficiency and you got yourself this achievement in the bag as well. You think you have time for the map? No chance. Nail upgrades? Nope. Good charms? Nah, you stink. 3 hours and 33 minutes was the final time for my frantic frenzied finish. High pressure? High dopamine. A tier. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. For the wrongdoer will be paid back for the wrong he has done, and there is no partiality. Many a foreshadow ago, I hinted at the game being too hard for me. Like a moth to a flame, I was drawn to the pantheon of the Hallownest. A cadence of 42 bosses I bridged into one challenge. There was no escaping the punishment of the gods. I could consistently make it to Nightmare Grim and Pure Vessel, but I didn't see Absolute Radiance even once. Even now while writing the script, it's a hard pill to swallow. I stand watching out over this lake, hoping the viewers would forgive me, because blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. I have no choice but to respect the almighty Godseeker. Rarer, but not harder. Steel Soul is designed to intimidate, designed to strike fear into the hearts and minds of feeble men. But luckily,
I am no man.
if you enjoy keeping your flu pole clenched tight for 8 hours straight, then this is the fetish for you. Steel Soul is a permadeath mode. I hope you've mastered your movement controls, your boss fights, and the ability to not shit yourself when you drop down to 1 health. Nail in hand, I fought my way through everything the game required of me. I endured it.
Blistering winds, scorching desert.
And I'm proud to say, I finished this on my first attempt. A for effort, son. Like Steel Soul, there is no forgiveness for failure during this achievement. Unlike Steel Soul, we must achieve 100%, because the achievements have been training us for this final hurdle the whole time. If you're not willing to risk it all and have it come crashing down in a blaze of glory, then you're not ready for this one. I chose to fight the hidden end boss Radiance. I was almost instantly put back in my place, leaving my butt clenched so hard I turned into a fucking clam. Tail between my legs, I decided to just kill the normal end boss and condemned Hornet to a life of unliving. If only she wasn't playing on Steel Soul mode, she might have respawned. Godseeker.